Hi, I'm Harlan Emil Gruber, and welcome to Portal to the New Earth. Today, we're interviewing Kelly Krezek of New Earth Development. It's a business that she's the CEO and founder of that is not only working on developing their own eco village in Nicaragua, but helping other eco villages all around the world to be developed in the best way possible for both humanity and the earth. So, Kelly, please, I'm excited to hear all about this.
Yeah, thank you so much for the introduction. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, so just dive right in and tell us how you came about to found this New Earth Development Company. And of course, it's got an incredible uh, website. Actually, allow me just to read from the website because I was so enthralled when I read it at the very bottom, stating the purpose of New Earth Development. We are here to bring about revolutionary societal change through regenerative culture and built environments, recognizing the cutting edge technology and abundant natural resources available on Earth today. We are creating the models to eradicate poverty, homelessness, hunger, disease, war, and crime now. Our passion is to develop a new society in which all beings are free to thrive in unity and peace. And so clearly your focus is much more on the underlying fabric of the society, but that has a lot to do with how we design and build and create our environments.
Yeah, exactly. I really got inspired by watching the Venus Project. So you'll notice like the concept of having abundant resources and solving the global systemic issues is really where I drove my passion from. I can kind of start from the beginning of from how I kind of came upon that when I was younger. I always like questioned, why the world was the way it was. Why do we have war? Why is the world this way? And I wrote on my goals to take over the world and unite it in peace when I was like 10 years old or something like that. But I never knew, how I was going to do that, or not saying that I'm going to do that, but I'm going to at least do my part in trying. And so anyways, when I was younger, I had realized that one of the biggest issues in society was this stress around financial insecurity, just from my family, just seeing, how my parents would fight about money. And that's what I remember most. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to basically, I'm going to make it so that my family never has to worry about money and everybody else's family never has to worry about money. And we're just going to be able to live in peace and nobody's going to have financial stress. So that was my goal in life when I was young, to understand, okay, now how do we steward money properly? Because I didn't really see any other way of doing that. So I actually went into business finance investments in college to understand how to make more money, how I could help people make more money so they wouldn't have that financial stress. Eventually, when I got out of college, I ended up doing financial planning, debt planning, insurance, things like that, and recognized that in order to, actually invest the money, a lot of times you have to have a lot of money first. So there was like, okay, well, how do you help the people that are in debt, or, things like that? And really, there was not really a good way that you could ever take care of everybody's financial problems. But then when I watched the Venus Project, and for those who haven't seen the Venus Project documentary it's free on YouTube. Paradise or Oblivion is how you can look it up. That's
Yeah,
the
we can
name
add
of
it in the info for this so people can jump right to it easily.
Totally. That'd be great. Yeah. So when I watched that, I saw, wow, they're actually creating a new form of society where instead of a monetary based economy, they use a resource based economy. So this provides all resources freely to all of humanity without the use of money. And so I was like, wow, well, that takes care of everybody's money problems in the world. And they talked about how this can actually eliminate hunger, because when food is grown and given to everybody freely because it grows out of the ground, and once we automate and use robotics, and of course humans will still play a role, but to be able to help produce more food for everybody, you can eliminate hunger. Same with poverty. If there's not money, there wouldn't be any poverty. If there wouldn't be crime because you have all your resources, you're not going to be stealing. So they go into deep depths of how that's possible. But also, the city is built in a circular design and uses super efficient transportation, all renewable energy. Everything's built with automated technologies, so humans actually get to be creative and go to research centers and innovate and educate themselves on whatever they're passionate about and whatever their unique skill sets are, and help solve other global systemic issues. So since I saw that, I was like, wow, that feels like it's my life mission, is to be able to figure out how to create that. And during that time, I had been transitioning from finance to real estate, because in real estate, I was feeling like I could actually learn these practices of how do we build society, like how do we build cities, in this way. So starting with real estate investments, doing fix and flips, understanding wholesale deals, understanding, real estate agent work. I was doing rentals, Airbnbs. We had a team of like over 100 people that was doing wholesaling. And then we had a group of over 1,000 investors, real estate agents, that 100 people were coming every single month. We were doing public speaking about it, just teaching other people how they could, make money in real estate and improve houses and remodel houses and things like that. So I got a lot of really good practical skills doing that, and then decided, okay, now after a few years of doing that, I felt like I had accomplished all of my goals in real estate. And I was like, okay, if I continued this journey, it's just going to be about making more and more money, which is great. But also it doesn't go towards exactly what I really want to be doing, which is helping make an impact on the planet and the environment. So I started understanding, well, can I start putting in these sustainable features into our investment properties? And the fact was, I talked to my other investor friends and they're like, it just doesn't make enough profit. And, that's what the point is, what we're doing. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go figure out how to make it financially feasible for us to be able to actually, build in harmony with nature, environmentally sustainable, and later, not just sustainable, but actually regenerative by, having degraded land and planting trees and using materials that are carbon sequestering, such as, hempcrete or sugarcanecrete or coconutcrete or limestone, all of these different types. And we have a huge database of all the different types of materials I could go into later, but I decided I wanted to go into that. So I started traveling to places like Costa Rica and Bali and Thailand and all around the US and Mexico to be able to figure out, what are these eco villages doing that's working well, that are starting up, and what's not working. And along that journey, I met some of the greatest minds in these regenerative systems, permaculture, regenerative building materials, social dynamics, governance strategies. Got to be building with a lot of these different materials. So I really got to get a lot of experience, and I ended up visiting over 60 communities by now. I've visited quite a few. So I basically have taken that knowledge now, and a few years ago, I created the business New Earth Development. So then I provided with that database and that knowledge, consulting services on and project management on regenerative infrastructure. So that's mainly what New Earth Development is focused on. And then we bring in expertise in all of the other areas, such as the governance models and the new paradigm economic models and marketing strategies. My fiance, Joe McBean, is actually our marketing guy. So he's helping with understanding how these eco villages can actually market themselves to the world to be able to be seen on media and have this be a new way of living. So we're taking, all the concepts of regenerative infrastructure and new paradigm operations and combining them into one place. So after working on 12 different eco-village projects, now we're ready to do our own project, which we're working on now here in Nicaragua. We actually started it in Costa Rica about a year and a half ago. We had decided to move to Costa Rica, and we've been looking at land for a couple of years, and we found the perfect property. It was 1,400 acres, and we were naming it Abundancia. And the concept was to create an abundant amount of resources so that we could be a transition towards the Venus project, and build in a way that, you know, the structures would last hundreds of years. So you didn't have to have a lot of maintenance, where, you know, the food would be growing so abundantly that we would just be able to give it away for free, you know, and then having the system set up like solar or maybe magnetic energy, renewable energies on the property, so we can have free utilities and, you know, fiber optic internet, and basically have the rental units be paying for the operational costs for the residents to be able to actually be the experiment to live in this way with all these abundant resources. So that was the concept of Abundancia. We created the pitch deck, the business plan, you know, had all the financial models. That's actually where I started, was the financial models, because I wanted to make sure that it was financially feasible first. And then we built out the team. We had all the legal structures in place, you know, did so much research on all of these different pieces. And then when we went to make the offer on that property, there was 2 other offers that came in, and ours didn't get accepted. So we said, okay, well, we have everything ready to go, and the plans and the people. So now it's just about finding the land. So we went and traveled up Costa Rica, more of the northern areas of Costa Rica, northwestern, and was looking for different land, different partnerships. And we ended up visiting Nicaragua just to kind of check it out, and, you know, weren't planning on partnering because we really wanted to be in Costa Rica. But when we came here, we met our current partner now. His name's Arnold, and he's the landowner of 4,000 acres along with his family on the beach. And we just fell in love with him. We fell in love with the land, and it was an absolute just dream come true, because he already had been doing a lot of the work. And then we were like, well, you know, we still want to do this project Abundancia. How can we combine our visions? And he's like, well, let's just put it all here and let's combine our visions and do it together. So, you know, we definitely expanded a lot. He's brought in so much talent and just people, and he really, their family's been here for 40 years. So they know a lot about the culture of Nicaragua, how it works to work with people in Nicaragua. And that's the exact type of development partner that we were looking for, somebody who really understands the culture, but also shares the vision of actually regeneration. And he's also very into innovative solutions for global problems, such as creating artificial reefs so that we can actually bring back the ocean life, because there's a lot of overfishing that happens here, as well as reforestation, agroforestry, doing a lot of conservation. So from that 4,000 acres, we're just going to be building on a small, like less than 10% on 400 acres, and probably even less, because we're going to leave a lot of green spaces in between everything. And so, yeah, I can kind of get more into that later, but I've talked a lot. So that's kind of where we're at now.
Yes. So first of all, I didn't know the name of the Costa Rica project, Abundancia, but now this new project is named Ubuntu. And Ubuntu, I learned about that through Michael Tellinger, who's one of the main proponents of this movement in South Africa. And it's really a very interesting and very successful movement, and it's a word. It's a word from South Africa. And my understanding of Ubuntu is it's basically how we are. It's like basically it's a political. In South Africa, it's like a political party, but it's a political party that's of and by and for the people. And one of their main goals and objectives is to move beyond money. And part of that is that the banking system would be, the money and the banks would be owned by and for the people collectively. It's not like you have a bank here that charges you interest for your loans. No, the bank is everyone's money collectively. And if you need money, they'll lend it to you. And there doesn't have to be interest because you don't have to be making money on this. It's all just the way nature and the universe works. It's really a very common sense and practical approach to how we as humans can work and live and thrive together. And it's a really well thought out system, this Ubuntu system, which is actually working there to some extent or starting to make inroads in the, and of course it goes completely counter to our current government paradigm, which is a lot more based on corruption and greed and power and control, and especially our banking system, which is also not based on, basically it's a more greed and power and control based system. So, and of course you call your business the New Earth Development, and of course I'm working, my thing is Portal to the New Earth, and in the New Earth, the New Earth is a place where humanity can thrive in a way that is free of corruption and greed and power and control, all those words. So, it's a great name that you chose for that. And so, yeah, I think we could segue into going into maybe more detail exactly on what this project is. And also, this is a really interesting conversation that we're having today, because I've been coming from this vision from a completely opposite end of the spectrum. Like, I have nothing to do with the financial world, nothing to do with real estate, nothing to do with anything realistic and practical. I'm like a total visionary. And in my mind, I have a vision of how we as humans can interact with our physical environment and understand everything is sacred and create the most magical, beautiful, sacred things, sacred way to live on the planet. But being that I'm coming from that direction, it really has little or no practical way of actually moving towards that. I'm like 10 steps down the road or more to what we could be doing. Whereas you're coming from it, from being completely entrenched in a very practical, real world, 3D world of these things of finance and real estate development. And so, this is so important for me to learn about and connect to. And the fact that you've already gotten this far, with moving things along, is showing that, we are starting to, the two ends, the 3D world. And I don't know, sometimes New Earth people might call it the 5D or something along those lines, but there is a different energy to it, a different dimension and way of understanding, our relationship with, other humans and relationship with everything else. So yeah, I'm so excited to hear more of how this is coming. I don't know if you want to share some images or things about it, but let us know where things are happening on this new development.
Sure. Yeah. I'm so glad that you shared that, because I feel like, we are kind of that bridge between everybody who has this vision, because I feel like this vision was downloaded collectively to the light workers on the planet right now to steward this, of like, this is the new Earth. This is how we're going to be building of the future, right? And so they need like people like me and our team to be able to know how to practically actually get that done. And there's a lot of amazing people that have tons of amazing practical knowledge that have woken up. They're now coming together to be able to build this together. And, so having you on our team to be the portal to the new Earth, to be sharing this with people, to be spreading this message, and also building these structures that show people what this sacred geometry does. And, having it be this portal into now, let's see how we can actually live in this way. So we can help bring your vision for, the 12 cities. What's it called? 12
Spiral City. Oh, it's funny. It can't hurt. I might as well go and put it behind me.
Yeah.
We're going to start that way, but it's okay. You got to see where I live, and now you get to see this, and it's interesting because this is a very crude computer graphics of this urban mega structure. And you could see like little 4-story buildings. That's as high as you could build, human scale buildings. And then on top are trees. And then way over there, you see the other 12 levels of these crazy spiraling cities, and all the streets are these spiraling ramps. So of course, well, that's a whole nother video of its own. But my vision is, to develop these, futuristic cities, and it wouldn't look anything like this. We just had to do this to get a computer rendering finished, but the houses there would not be these ugly rectilinear blocks. They'd be the most beautiful and organic, hand built. Everyone could choose to build whatever they want to build on their building plots. You have a certain amount of space. So yeah, it would be very much community oriented and
Beautiful.
beautiful, organic, bio architecture.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
biophilic
yeah,
design.
yeah.
I love that. I'd be super excited to go deeper on that with you one of these days and see how we can manifest that. I know I saw a couple of Vincent Calabo, the architect. I saw his designs on your site, I think, and I'm really in love with his work too. And I had reached out to him to work with us in Abundancia. We used all of his renderings as concept pictures for Abundancia, which we're going to have a little bit different design with Ubuntu, which I'll go into a little bit more on that now, but combining these like biophilic type of designs, and he focuses more on the large scale city. So scaling the biophilic designs that he has kind of down to what we can have in a community that makes you feel like when you step into it, it's like, wow, I've arrived in the new earth. I'm in a totally different place where the buildings actually go in harmony with these sacred geometry designs, like the Fibonacci spiral or the crystal spiral, and they're in harmony. So when you actually go into the buildings, then you feel this different feeling. I met this architect from Architectura Mixta in Tulum, and they do these toroidal field type of designs with bamboo. And when you go into the building, it was just like a small little entryway. You could feel like you're in nature, even though you're inside. It was really interesting. So just experiencing these types of ways of building is so much different than, what we normally experience in a rectangular house like most of us live in. And if you just put a little bit of a curve on the corners, doesn't have to cost too much, just a little bit of curve. It creates so much more of a natural feel.
I want to share these images. I found them on the internet completely without any information as to who did it. So if anyone's watching this video and knows where these came from, but this is, here they are. Let's see. And can I scroll through it? So look, this, right? Have you seen these? So this is like what the infill of this megastructure city would look a lot more like, not a regular block of buildings, but this kind of organic, natural design. So yeah,
Reminds me of Hobbit homes a little
exactly,
bit.
right. And I'm sure this is, you resonate very strongly with this, I'm sure also, and I'm sure anyone who's watching this right now is like, wow, who did that? And yes, I'd like to live there.
Yeah, so the whole concept, there's, we're bringing in the concepts we talked about with Abundancia, but we're really just creating more of an experiment of like, let's see how everything works and goes, and then we can make the resources free eventually is our goal, to be able to transition to the Venus Project. So making sure that we build the infrastructure in a way that can last, that can eventually transition, is one of the highest things. And then also Ubuntu. Actually, it's interesting that you mentioned the term Ubuntu from the political party that's the sharing of resources, because that was actually kind of a coincidence in a way, because Ubuntu also means it's the shortened version is I am because we are, but it comes from Nelson Mandela's quote about how we all need each other to be able to do amazing things in this world and collaborate together. And that quote is actually on the Ubuntu website, which I can share in a bit if we have some time. But yeah, basically this collaboration energy. So everybody's dreams that and visions that are in alignment with this project can come together and actually create this together as a team. So we're actually creating a consortium business model for other businesses to come in and join and be a part of what we're working on here in different capacities. So we're going to be doing online programming, lifestyle programming within the community. So a lot of it's going to be focused around different areas of healing and transformation and business acceleration. And there's going to be an amazing event center with eventually there's going to be a TV show, which I'm not going to share too much right now, but it's going to be really amazing and something that can bring to light these solutions to world problems. So bringing people from around the world to our innovation center to showcase, how we're solving global water, like clean water or hunger, or these different food systems or different energy systems or materials or things in these different categories that we have here in our innovation center. We're going to have co-working spaces and sustainable retail shops, zero waste grocery, permaculture gardens. There's going to be permaculture everywhere throughout the property, so you could just pick food everywhere you go. A little pond. There's going to be a water retentive landscaping system, so even in the dry season it looks like an oasis, which is also going to attract more biodiversity to the area. So I can actually show the website that kind of goes into some of the details of what we're going to be doing in the project, but you guys kind of get a main overview concept of it.
Sure, bring it up. And of course, there'll be the link to the website for anyone else to dive in deeper. But you should be able to share your screen and give us a little overview of the project.
All right, so you seeing it there?
Yes, that looks great. I am, because we are. Look at that incredible lush landscape and beautiful beach.
Yeah, this is the picture of the project from the beach. So if you could see my mouse, this is actually the 400 acres. So it kind of goes from right here, and then it goes out and goes around. So these two hills are a part of it, which we're calling the San Lorenzo Hills. And then it goes up here in this valley. So I don't know if I drew an exact area, but that's the 400. And then the 4,000 with the agroforestry and conservation is all this big area, and then stuff that's not even pictured over on that side. So it's almost everything you can see except for a chunk over here. But we're working on potentially acquiring that too. So that gives you a little overview of what it looks like. This is the quote by Nelson Mandela. The profound sense that we are human only through the humanity of others, that if we are to accomplish anything in this world, it will be in equal measure be due to the work and achievement of others. So really putting others above ourselves. And the mission, basically creating a regenerative community where humanity can actually thrive with a natural abundance of food, energy, water, biodiversity, and wisdom, so everyone can focus on moving towards a conscious civilization that protects the union of well-being, self, humanity, and the planet. So that's our North Star. We have many amazing people that we're working with, different brands and logos, as you can see. You can find out more about where exactly it is here. It's near San Juan del Sur, Nicaragua. And this is just some more images of the land from different angles. And there's the two components, the regenerative real estate and land conservation, and the institute, which is, like I was sharing, the lifestyle and education, environmental regeneration. This is talking about having the online platform to connect with the on-site programs to transform, and then living on the property once you experience it and want to live there. Then of course that's our main thing, is to live in community. So we can actually, live with these principles and these values that we have of well-being, connection, and regeneration. So you can read a bit more about the principles on the site if you'd like. And one of the big things is really understanding our metrics. So we're not just saying that we're regenerative, but we're actually, and making social progress and doing all these great things, but we're actually measuring it. So understanding, how much our social progress index is, biodiversity index, entrepreneurial index, how much carbon that we're fixing or sequestering basically out of the atmosphere. What's our consciousness index? How are we being circular? So getting, wood from the land that has been growing for 25, 30 years already and doing it in a way that has biological corridors and is in harmony with nature and the biodiversity there. And there's a lot of amazing geographical advantages for being in Nicaragua. Those who don't know a lot about it have probably heard a lot on media about, maybe scary things or political things, but really when you actually come here, you experience something completely different. Everybody is so amazingly nice here. It's very safe. It's the lowest violent crime in most all of Central America. And there's a very low cost of living for high quality of lifestyle. There's amazing biodiversity, universal health care. So you can look more about that later. So this is phase one. So this is kind of getting to some of the things that I was describing for the master plan. This is the 60 acres out of the 400 that we're going to be eventually developing. So we don't have the phase two on here yet, but we will soon. And not everything on this website is updated. So some of the renderings are actually old and we don't have the new updated renderings with some of the new looks that we're going to have for some of these communities and community spaces on here. So I don't know if I could zoom in a little bit here so you can see a little bit more into the master plan.
That's great.
But there's going to be a farmer's market. These are the mandala gardens, the lagoon. And most importantly, well, not most importantly, but one of the most important things that I'm really passionate about is having a regenerative home showcase. So showing people all these different types of regenerative building styles, from domes to shipping containers to modular houses to sugarcane crete and limestone and rammed earth and cob and, all of these different ways of building, 3D printing. We're going to have in this regenerative tiny home area to showcase these and actually have workshops on regenerative building education and permaculture design and things like that. So locals and people from around the world can come and learn how to build their own homes or their own community spaces with this. And then eventually we'll create courses online so that people all around the world could then get, real experience in understanding how to build these types of spaces. So I'm super passionate about that. Also, these are the innovation center offices I was speaking of, where there will be labs where people can actually work together that are working in creating these global solutions, event center, and then some condos. These are all the houses that are actually available for investment. These are mostly going to be rental homes for people to invest into, and we'll help manage it for them for the events and activities. And then the rest of the 350 houses in phase two are going to be the ones for sale. These are going to be for sale as well, just in a different capacity. And if somebody wanted to have one of these to be able to own and live in, then we're not going to say no to that, of course.
I want to just interrupt for a second because my good friend Tony Gwilliams built something similar to this in Bali called Bloo Lagoon, blue spelled BLOO. And it's about 25 homes that are exactly what you described. They're both being for investment, for then vacation, for people to come and be rented out and managed, but then a good number of them are for people that actually just want to live there in those homes. So, and he calls it a little eco village. So there are models of things like this already built that I'm familiar with that make a lot of sense, super successful. And so anyway, just keep moving ahead. But I just thought it was an opportune moment to share, that I'm connected with that Blue Lagoon in Padang by Bali that does something very similar successfully.
Amazing. Wow. Yeah, I would love to learn more about that too. Blue Lagoon. I will definitely research that, or you can share some details after this. But yeah, there's going to be a community lounge. So this is going to be a space for everybody to be able to come and just have gatherings, cacao ceremonies, authentic relating, ecstatic dances, whatever, or just hang out and do work by the pool, lay out by the pool, have family barbecues, or just, anything that people can use it for a multi-use space. But it's going to be very homey and nice. And this down here is the beach club, which I had mentioned earlier, just beautiful beach spaces and lounge areas. I'll show you. We have some of the images of the renders. These are some of the images of the home, the farmer's market, the beach club. It's going to be very beautiful. We have so many more renderings of that we don't have up on the website yet. The co-working and shopping area amphitheater. This is going to be more of the farm building. And this actually is going to be changing. The event space is now going to go in a different spot, and it's going to be designed a little bit differently with more biophilic design. And we'll have a healing center. This isn't obviously the design, but it's just a temporary thing. This is the Ubuntu leadership team. As you can see, we're actually going to redefine our names of, our titles. I'm going to become from operations. I've been working on the operations so far, but become Chief Development Officer. And you can kind of read more about some other people on our team here. And there's our 20-year plan. So this is interesting that you mentioned Serenbe previously with our previous conversation, because that's actually one of them that we put on here as kind of a comparable model of, we're combining different pieces of these eco-villages from around the world that we really liked, the different pieces that we liked, into one place. So Serenbe has incredible amenities, community events, and have a really amazing, thriving lifestyle. Ecovia has regenerative systems, food forests, gardens, like abundance of food and permaculture. And Mystico in Costa Rica has like luxury, beauty, professionality, outdoor lifestyle. And so we're combining all of that into Ubuntu to have it all be in one place.
Yeah, one of the very interesting things about Serenbe is that it's an urban development, and they do model it after, traditional urban environments. So when you go to this place, even though it's way out in the middle of nowhere in the woods, you come to this street and it's this beautiful, and they made it curving rather than a grid, but it's filled with like traditional 3-story urban development buildings all packed together. So when you get there, you feel like you're in this little urban environment. And, a lot of people, of course, are familiar with the festival circuit, that we go and set up these festivals all around the world, the more commercial ones, but then Burning Man, which is not commercial, but these are also very urban neighborhoods. And there's something about, an urban environment that creates a lot of culture, like a thriving culture. A lot of people interacting in a very close proximity creates for a very culturally rich experience. And I think in a lot of eco-village designs, they're thought of as much more rural and much more sparsely populated. So bringing this urban development concept into your development is, I think, an important aspect that you've addressed.
Exactly. So having something where, there's people that can live there and own houses and lots, but making it more immersed in nature. So we have, spaciousness and beautiful views and nature growing everywhere, and all of it's built with regenerative materials. So sticking to, what's worked for these communities, and then adding in, the additional pieces that we see are needed is the goal. So yeah, there's a market analysis here. I'm not going to go too deep into that, as well as the marketing strategy. And here's some milestones that we've gone through.
I saw, and actually at the top of it is where you're at right now, and that would be an obvious question: is where does this stand right now, and how far along is this project, coming to be a reality? So we could see right at the top of your milestones where we're up to.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Basically, we're working on just finalizing all the agreements with our team. So, and then we're also working on, like it says here, global lifestyle platform launch, slated to launch to begin, basically in spring. So it's coming pretty close to that. So that's kind of our first step, is like getting out the message to make sure that we have the market of people who want to come experience our events and activities. But also raising the funding is where we're at right now. So just finalizing the legal structures, the agreements, the financial models, obviously this website is pretty much done, but just a few minor tweaks. So we're just about there, only maybe about a few weeks, or things always take longer than what you think. And then focusing on raising funding. So that's currently where we're in right now. So yeah, if there's anybody watching this that's interested in helping contribute to co-creating the new Earth, let us know. And yeah, this
it's interesting because I had this vision too of this being watched a few years from now from someone sitting in Ubuntu in one of those centers that is already finished, built. It's already a thriving place, and they're going to hear us talking about, like, if anyone's interested in funding it, but the funding will actually be happening in a big way already. So I'm holding that vision also. But of course, a lot of people are going to be watching it right now. This is the winter of 2023, and so get on board. Let's make this place happen. It's really well thought out. So I'm super excited, to be here connecting with you at its inception stage, but imminently coming into being.
Yeah, thank you for holding that vision for us. We feel it. It's like nothing can stop it. It's just the universe is orchestrating it all to make it happen. And there's been just so many amazing opportunities that have just been magnetically attracted to this vision. So I have no doubt it'll happen in divine timing very soon. And yeah, the land was purchased in 1997. If you guys want to look more deeper into the timeline, there's also 2004 Morgan's Rock. Just to mention, there is an eco hotel on part of that 4,000 acres called Morgan's Rock Eco Lodge. So if anybody wants to come visit, you can check that space out and reach out to us so we can help give the tour of Ubuntu as well. But it's a beautiful, beautiful eco lodge for people to stay. Here's some different renderings. Like I said, some of these are a little bit older, so we're redesigning some of these things, but the beach club is just absolutely gorgeous, as you can see. And yeah, basically that's pretty much it. There you can see, if you scroll down, these financials are not fully updated yet, but yeah, there should be a button that says join resident wait list here if anybody's interested in, becoming a resident. We have that option too. So I'll stop sharing there.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's really exciting. And yeah, I think, with your background and skills and everyone on the team, it seems like it's, moving ahead in a really good way. And like you say, more and more people are, wanting something like this. So just super excited to see how this comes along.
Thank you.
That was really good coverage of that particular project. I don't know if you want to go into any more detail or share anything about your more umbrella business, New Earth Development, which is really something that obviously you're working on to help other people develop similar projects anywhere in the world with these same principles or concepts. So if you want to just talk more about that or share anything more about your New Earth Development, of which you are the founder and CEO of as well.
Yeah. Thank you for asking that. Exactly. We are actually, this is just one of the projects that we're going to be creating. This is basically the first biggest, of our own, where we're actually able to put in our vision into everything as well. So what we're planning on doing is creating this to be a model for other people to be able to go off of. If they like what we've done, be able to go off of it, but then alternate and tweak it based on what they are, most passionate about, what their vision is, how they want to see things happen. And then of course, how the land is, the climate that they have, the location that they're in, the people, the culture. So alternating that model to be able to go into many different areas around the world. So we'll be developing many more communities as New Earth Development, but also providing services for other communities that want to do this and want the practical skills of knowing exactly what the process is from start to finish in every single step that's needed to create a regenerative community. And we actually created a 10-step process. So I wanted to kind of put this huge, vision, this huge project into how can we make it a step-by-step process that people can actually follow along and start doing. And so we actually built, I created a PDF, just a very brief overview of these steps. And I'm planning on going deeper into it in the course that we're eventually going to create once we, get in the mix of building and developing this project. We want to be able to film everything and put it in a course and, film the process from start to finish of everything that we've done. But number one is creating your vision, your mission, your purpose, and either you yourself as the visionary or with a team of people. And there's exercises within that to be able to co-create that vision. A lot of the inspiration that I got from some of the pieces that I teach is from the book Creating a Life Together by Diana Leaf Christian. She's one of the first people that I met. She talks a lot about governance models and sociocracy. I took her sociocracy course, actually, which that's step 2 is creating the governance models of how you're making decisions together, how you're organizing all your information, organizing meetings, how you're going to have communication, what agreements that you're going to have with each other, and being able to write all of that down. And so we provide the templates and the knowledge on how somebody could do all that. We also integrate holacracy principles as well as technology like a DAO to be able to, for people to create proposals and give feedback and vote and choose how they vote and have a community online, have roles and responsibilities. So there's a whole can of worms within the governance piece. And it's probably one of the most important pieces because 90% of communities fail due to people problems. So having that foundation from the very beginning is really important. And then step 3 is, and these don't have to be done in exactly this order. It's just important that all of them do get done. And so step 3 is the economics models, alternative economic systems. How are you going to use money? Are you going to create your own currency? Or is it going to be resource backed? Are you going to have it service backed, have a time bank? There's so many different ways of doing that. Are you going to just have everything be free? What's your economic model? Are you going to use a resource-based economic model within the system? And then step 4 is just really understanding your development plan and your revenue plan. So kind of just understanding what it is that you want to build before you even have the land, before you have anything, what you want to build and what the revenues will be that you're going to specifically focus on. So then you can kind of start to create a general financial understanding of how much land you're going to need for what your vision is for what you actually want to look for. And then later on, you'll be able to look for land that matches that vision. So maybe you already have land, then you can kind of base that development and revenue plan on what you already have as well. So a lot of times we work with people that, have land already, some don't. So it just depends. But usually, people get the land first, and I would recommend doing it opposite, the vision first and the development plan first. And then the 5th step is legal. So understanding, are you going to have a community land trust? Are you going to put it in the Cayman Islands for tax purposes? Are you going to have an LLC or a DAO? Or, how are you going to do it legally? So we have a lot of amazing lawyers and advisors on the details of that. Not going to go super deep into it right now, but there's a lot of different factors that play a role. There's also one great one that's a ministry or a church type of model so that you're protected. So we have some partners that are helping people with creating those types of entities as well, which has a lot of amazing benefits. And then step 6 is basically once you have all of that, you can start creating your kind of marketing or fundraising. So the marketing is basically creating the pitch deck, the website, the business plan, off of everything that you just learned. We also have business plan templates, pitch deck templates for people that are creating this. And then from there, you basically start raising funding. So then you start talking to investors. We have many different ways of finding investors, large networks, and different ways of doing that we talk about. And then step 7, that's when you get your land acquisition. So usually you want to have your land generally picked out and scoped. You want to have the general location in step 1, and then start looking for land during that whole process, so you know where you're going to be. And maybe you, if you have the funding to be able to put that deposit down to lock it under contract before you get the investor, that would be ideal, because investors really want to see that you have the land locked under contract, at least, if not fully purchased. And investors like to invest at this stage because then it's secured by collateral, secured by real estate. So it's a really safe investment for a lot of investors if you already have your general financial model and it makes sense. So once you have the land, you do obviously the due diligence on it, make sure that it can be everything that you want it to be that matches your vision. A lot of pieces in due diligence. Then the 8th step is then finalizing your financial model, how it relates with the market research of the area. You know, what are the comparable rentals and sales, and you know, what's the area like, what kind of people come there, what's the culture like, and you know, what's the labor cost, what's the cost of building. All of those details will then go into your financial model inputs. And then step 9 is when you're ready to build. So that's the most fun part for me, at least. I love that building process, you know, when you actually get to have that full executable plan completely done, and you know exactly where you're going to allocate all of your resources, and then you can implement it by finding the right people. You know, we have amazing lists of people that are architects, engineers, regenerative builders, permaculture design experts, regenerative systems experts, all the different pieces that you would need to be able to build the project with exactly the materials and the vision that you have. So that's step 8. And of course there's that's step 9. So that's your part of that is observing the land. So the permaculture is like observing the land, having indigenous be able to come to the land, you know, ask it for permission. We have that spiritual aspect, this being New Earth development. You know, really understanding the land is the key piece to be able to actually knowing how to do the master plan and develop it. So we work with key architects that really understand how the energy moves on the land, how to place things in accordance with what the best what the best energy is for that structure that you want to create, or the best design to be able to create the proper energy.
The feng shui, obviously. I was waiting for you to say feng shui, but that's a big thing these days. Feng shui, the Chinese word for understanding the nature of the landscape and the energies of the lands and working with it in a way. And obviously, feng shui has been developed for thousands of years in China, and there's a lot of things that people who understand and practice feng shui will do that might not make any sense from a practical real estate business economic model. It'd be like, no, we got to put this road and it has to go right here to there. And like, no, the feng shui is like, that will ruin the energy of it, and it'll be, not what we need to do. So feng shui oftentimes is counter to economic models, but I think should be a priority in New Earth development, because we're really wanting to work with the earth and with the land in the most conscious and sacred way possible, even if it means it's not the most economical way.
Agreed. Yeah, it's never about what makes the most money in the New Earth. It's what will actually create a society that will cause the best energy and the most harmony. And that's why we figure out, how the water flows on land, all the due diligence studies, what the soil studies are, the nutrients in the soil, and understanding the energies of the mountains, doing energy dowsing on the land, where are the springs, where to place certain things closer to water, or there's just so much factors that you have to think about. Also, the elements of the earth carry different energies. So yeah, there's just a bunch in that we could go deep into, but that's a really important piece. So thanks for bringing that up. And then step 10 is operations. So basically you've set in your governance models, you set kind of all that from the beginning. So then it's just having, the management of that and carrying that through with property management to core team decisions to, how everything is going to be maintained and who's going to be working in the project. So then you're just kind of carrying it out from there on. So that's our 10 steps. So if anybody's interested in just getting that PDF, you can get it on our website, newearthdevelopment.org. I can share the screen real quick just so that
Sure. Yeah, I'm hoping. I think a lot of people who will be watching this are working along lines like this and may really need your expertise and resource to help further their visionary projects. Yeah, go ahead and share the screen if you want to show the website so people can just get a glimpse of it. And of course, it'll be in the information to go to it. My question is, are you working with any other developments right now like that? I know we actually met through the Design Science Studio, which was an online course hosted by the Buckminster Fuller Institute, that the people that were running it were working on developing or are working on developing a project in Costa Rica called La Tierra, that I think the New Earth Development was, partnering or helping them with their vision to move ahead. But I was also asking if you have any other communities that you're actively working with or, helping develop, or you're just in the state of just being available for new communities that are coming up at this time.
Yeah, we're actually working with La Tierra. We were working with La Tierra on their project, helping them with the financial models. We did a site visit. We helped with the development plan, bringing in some key partners for them, helping them understand, what they're going to be building and how. And so that was really fun to help them out. And then we're working with another project in Colombia right now. I don't know if I have their permission to share, but yeah, we worked on several other projects. And so we're definitely open to working with other projects that need our services, or we're also open to partnerships. So we're actually talking with a project in Costa Rica that has quite a good amount of land that wants to build a community there. And they're just at the initial stages of everything. So they really want us to be able to bring our vision as well. And so it's more like a partnership. They have the land, we have the vision, we integrate their vision, and we collaborate and partner together. So we're open to both ways of doing it. If there's already a vision and already set, then we could, just provide services, or there's potential partnership options for that too, depending on the project. So that's the different ways we work together, and eventually we'll be coming out with more educational tools for people to learn how to do this on their own, and digital products, so we can make it more accessible and scaling up with the people that we work with. So I'll just share really quick just to walk through. This is our website. And you can see this is a beautiful view of the Morgan's Rock view that we're going to be building on the other side where the Ubuntu is. And you can kind of scroll down here. You can see more about our development services here. And of course, at the top of the page at our services. And then this is where you download the free ebook. Also, there's an option to get involved. So you can click the link to fill out a form to be able to participate in different aspects of our project. And if you kind of want to see what those are before filling out the form, we just put a new page on our site about how to get involved that we haven't put live yet. So you have to go to newearthdevelopment.org/get-involved, get-involved. And then you can see the different areas here, and it basically takes you to the same link. So pretty simple. But yeah, so that's the different ways to get involved, and we're wanting to scale, and just my passion is really to just help more people be able to build like this, because I don't want to be the only person doing this. I know that I'm not. There's hundreds of other communities that are doing this, and I want to make sure that they have the tools to be able to do it in the best, highest way possible, and actually be in harmony with the planet, so we can have all of the spaces that we're going to be living in the new Earth soon. It's happening so quickly. There's nothing that we could do to stop it. It's just the natural evolution of humanity. So it's a really exciting time right now.
Perfect. That was just such a great closing statement. We covered everything I wanted to cover in getting to, meet you and interview you for your work. So thank you so much for your time today. And, for anyone who's watching this, please, always remember to click like and subscribe. And of course, let your friends know, share this as much as possible with people that would want to learn about this. So thank you again, Kelly. And thanks to everyone who's watching this now or somewhere in the future. And we look forward to meeting you in one of these beautiful eco villages somewhere in the world. I've got to come to Ubuntu at some point for sure. So
Yeah,
thank you again. All right.
please do. Yes, thank you so much. It's been wonderful to chat. I'm so grateful for you doing this in the world and sharing this message. So thank you for everything you do.